What's up, Capoeira Nation? Thank you so much for tuning in. Thank you so much for listening. Thank you so much for every single of you that are listening to this Capoeira podcast. Thank you, thank you, thank you. Now, if you are tuning in right now and if you are listening to this episode, please, 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 I know you're watching or I know you're listening. Okay, I know you're following me on Instagram. So please give me a subscribe on YouTube. I'm trying to get to the 100 subscribers. I know it's a tiny bit, but slowly we can grow together, and slowly I can grow even bigger. The more I grow, that means more information for you. So soon, very very soon, I don't know when, I'm going to start giving away some capoeira gear. Could be a capoeira hat, could be a capoeira shirt, could be a capoeira something. Okay, so please, capoeira sticker. If you like stickers, please give me a subscribe. Okay, thank you so much for tuning in. Listen to this episode. It's going to be fun. It's always fun with the Capoeira Experience podcast. Thank you so much. Let's roll. What's up, Capoeira Nation? Welcome back. Welcome back. Always welcome back to the Capoeira Experience podcast. I'm your host, Instructor Kashishi. And today is going to be a very special topic with special guest, because I'm bringing back my two good friends, Professor Congo and Professor Soquete. How are you guys doing?
I'm good, man. How are you?
Great, buddy. Glad to be here. Looking forward to this subject.
Yes. Today, we go back to start talking about bachizados, how to like set it up. What do you guys think about setting up bachizado? And I have another question, but I'll drop it as we talk. So before we start, let's start with social media so people whoever is listening can find you guys. Who's first?
Okay. Hi, I'm Professor Congo from Curacao. So for people that are looking for capoeira in the Caribbean on Curacao, you can always go on Facebook is Grupo Capoeira Brasil Curacao, very long name, or on Instagram GCB Curacao or Congo Capoeira. Those three.
Nice. Anytime you go to Curacao, I guarantee you are going to paradise. It's super nice all the time. What about you, Sokachi?
Awesome. Facebook, YouTube, Instagram, Twitter are all nice and easy. Kadara, Kadara, Capoeira Toronto. If you Google Kadara Capoeira Toronto, you're going to find us. We're doing everything we can to be as visible as possible.
Nice. So everybody go there, check it out. Check this guy's work. He's awesome, man. Congo's doing a great job there in Curacao, and Sokechi, always admire you. You two work is really cool. Always admire you too. And that's why I brought you back, because you guys been setting up bachizados for a while now, and helping in bachizados and setting up your own bachizados. So how I feel like first we have to set up the date, right? And then from there, how you go? You talk to your students. How do you guys go?
That's exactly the first thing I put on my little list of things to think about is date setting. But how do you choose a date?
Yeah.
One of the first things to consider is the availability of your guest, like your main guest or your mastery and the people that are going to do that workshop. And then another thing to consider is cross-referencing the dates that you have with other events that are within a couple of hours of your event. Because if two groups are doing an event 2 weeks apart and everybody's got to pay $100 for an event plus travel, and people have to choose your event or someone else's, it either comes down to how much of a friendship they have with you or how much they want to see your special guests.
Yeah, that's a good idea. But what about you, Congo?
Yeah, with me, it's very much different. It's literally the week after my Batizado. I already set the date for next year, because people they have to travel to the island. So I already consider the guest for next year from let's say this year. I already start considering guests for next year, and I start setting the date so people that are wanting to come to Curacao can already start looking for flights, looking for Airbnb, or look for a place in my house to stay. So that's how I do mine. Normally, I cross reference as well. Even though I do it very fast, I will check on previous years other groups in the vicinity in the area, or other groups of other students from our group that are doing Batizado, and try to not let them be too close to each other, or let, if it's like you can do hopping from event, then we'll see if we can do it together, like first week mine, next week's yours, and then so I take all of those into consideration. But most importantly, I try to set a date as soon as possible so people from abroad can start looking for tickets and places to stay and plan their capoeira vacations.
Nice. I remember you were setting up a bachizado like back to back with my instructor back in time with instructor Guarana. I think it was like one week Mr. Paulão there in Curacao, and the following week was in Venezuela or something like that.
Yes, normally Bespola would come here and then he will hop on to Venezuela and to do the batizado there, and then he comes back here to do our batizado. So literally 1 week apart. So
Nice.
people from here can go to Venezuela, and people from Venezuela can come to here.
Nice.
It's
Easy,
it's
easy
also
right there.
that's easier for us to combine the costs for
Yeah,
travel of Mestre, because Mestres come from Europe.
that's
If you have
awesome.
to pay 2 tickets from Europe, it's about, let's get to the ballpark figure, it's 800 euros. But if I get one to here and Venezuela, it's $100, then we save about 820 euros.
Yeah, which in dollars is like why, like $900 or something like that.
Yeah, you save about 900 bucks just, but and you can use it then to invest into the event as well.
Oh yeah, and another guess or whatever. And when you guys setting up dates, how you guys find out between like season, like for example, spring, winter, summer, fall? What do you think will be the best time to find an event? Because you consider flights, right, and like prices and all that.
Yes.
Of course, like availability of the whoever is coming, master or whoever. How do you think is the cheapest?
For I will look for like down season.
Okay.
So most of the time, spring break, you don't try that at all because all trips to the Caribbean is very expensive. So you will look like October is like low season. We will look more for low season times when there's not a lot of traveling and the tickets are cheaper.
Yeah.
And that's how, because this year we don't have a festival, but if I want to push it earlier, then it will look like for March, April. Then you won't, it's not just past Carnival, so the tickets are cheaper.
Okay.
So that's how I look for the things to have it. How you can say, to have the people that are traveling here not pay more on tickets than on their vacation here, because here on Curacao we do capoeira, but also our event is linked to having people know the island. So it's a capoeira vacation experience.
Okay. That's awesome. What about you, Soquete? What do you think is the best time for like bachizado and all that?
They're all really
Like
good
season.
points that Professor Congo brought up, and things for me to maybe even consider for myself. We've always done our stuff since I've been in Canada in the summertime. We get it; it's nice and hot to get meshy here in the summer, and
Mm.
then summer is a time where, because it's such a long break, people take time off.
Yeah.
So I found that if you have an event somewhere in the middle of the summer, it keeps people coming to class and working hard, even though it's beautiful outside.
Yeah.
Um, but we had a super hot Batizado this year or last year, and it was like really, really hot inside. And so I was starting to think maybe we could push back a few more weeks, let it cool down. And then one of the other offsetting benefits of going a little bit later in the season is that maybe we get some better ticket prices too, and it makes it
Okay.
more achievable to people for people to come from around the world.
Yeah, because I was looking for tickets, and I have a feeling, or what I've noticed is fall is the best time and one of the best prices I've ever found.
Yeah, I know another group here in Toronto has their event like second weekend in September every week, every year. And I've always thought, oh, that is a really good time. But like I say, cross-referencing dates, It's a taken time, and I wouldn't want to press too close to that event because I don't want to make people choose one event or the other. I know I want to
Yeah.
go to their event too.
For sure, yeah, yeah. Plus, you support you local community, and that will help your local community to grow.
Absolutely, absolutely. It's one of the greatest events of the year too,
Oh,
Batizado
cool.
time. So no matter what group you're in, it's one of those seasons where everybody just gets super excited, and it's one of my favorite times of the year. And all of my students the same thing. And so
Yeah,
I'm excited to hear and see your first Batizado next year sometime.
yeah, yeah,
It'll be like Capoeira Christmas.
Mm.
yeah. Cause so I want to try to plan my bachizado for April. I'm trying to find April is very short. Notice is very short. Is very short because usually you guys plan bachizado like a year in advance at least, right?
I do,
You
because
do okay.
for me it
Same
has
for
to
me.
be that way because people has to travel from here. So normally our Batizado is the first or the second weekend of October,
Okay.
and already in let's say second weekend of November, I'm already starting the planning, the budgeting, thinking of the guests.
Okay.
So I have to be a year upfront so I can do ticket hunting for cheaper flight tickets, sponsorships, if we can get them, because now it's more because of COVID, almost every place stops sponsoring. But
Yeah.
I need to do the whole cost efficient, and then I know how much the Batizal will cost as well, because as I try to keep it as low as possible for my students and for guests.
Yeah. Yeah. And once okay, so you set up the date, you try to find the tickets, and now I know to make a bachizado happen, a single person, you are gonna end up crazy, going crazy. You so you need a team, right? So how do you get your students ready for bachizado, even if it's their first bachizado? How do you get them ready? Like, what about you, Soquete? How you get them ready?
Uh, so with teams is really important because no one person can do a whole event. And, after years of assisting Mastery back in Australia to run events and then running my own here, you can never do an event on your own. So I made a little list of like teams that you need to have because
Nice.
the ability to delegate and oversee is really important for the person who's running the event. But you've got to have teams that are going to be responsible for helping to make the chords. You need to have teams delegated for drivers, airport pickups, people that are transporting equipment and moving things around. You got to think about a team of people who are going to do some kind of food preparation.
Nice.
Like, are
Okay,
you
I
going to
like that.
have a table of snacks and things like that? What we did last year and the year before is we had a table for adults, and then we had like a kids snack table,
Oh, cool.
and then
Okay.
a kids activity table as well, because the kids are going to do their little butts out, they're going to get their belt, and then they're going to want to run around, and maybe the
Yeah.
parents want to take them out for lunch. But as soon as all the kids are done, we're like, snack tables open, and they all run off, and they can have some little something to eat that's like all kids lollies and whatever else they want to eat to make them snack. So food and water, like, you need to have a team for that.
Nice.
If you're using a venue, then you want to think about having a team that's going to set up before the Batizado, and then using a different team that's going to pack up after the Batizado.
Oh, okay.
Because if you're on your first Batizado and you're going to have that experience, you want to get to know everybody, you want to meet everyone. And if you're
100%.
stuck for 3 hours before and 3 hours after, then you're
Yeah.
not going to get some of that experience. So if you have a different team that sets up and a different team that packs up, that means if you did set up, you know that you can talk to everybody after Batizado. If you're doing pack up, then you know you're going to get there early so you can talk to people before Batizado.
I like that.
You need to have, well, I shouldn't say you need to, you should consider having the people that are going to be doing sorting of chords and handing out of chords and getting them prepped and ready and in the correct order
Okay.
for your event. You want to think about who's taking videos and photographs. So whether you've got a student whose best friend's a photographer and
Nice.
they're like, oh, I want to come and do it and have some experience, that's awesome. But a thing with capoeira is if you don't know capoeira and you try to take photographs, you just end up with a bunch of like static people in Jenga and stuff. So if you're going to have someone random, then I would suggest like giving them some capoeira videos to watch. It'd be like, look, when you see the big things, look at what's setting them up. How are we getting things so that they have a bit of an idea of what they're looking at before they turn up and go, ooh, that's really cool. Oh, camera.
Yeah, yeah,
And then, yeah, so those are a bunch of lists to think about, right? There's so many things that go into it.
yeah. In like
But
treasury,
if you've
you
got enough
know.
students and you can break people up into little teams and be like, you guys are on food. You guys are on pack up and set up. You guys are going to do video and photos. I need people who help me on these days to make the cords, and then we need to dry them.
Nice.
Then you're going to be much happier and comfortable all the way as you flow through the event, because you don't have to think, what's next? What's next? Oh,
Yeah.
and a team for taking reception, taking money, marking people off, signing
Okay.
people up, and giving out shirts.
Nice.
Because if you have 17 different people coming and taking over at taking money, it
It's
gets
gonna
really
miss.
messy.
Yeah.
You want one person that's just sitting there dealing with it. That's where parents are wonderful. That's where, you get a friend to come and help you out for half a day and be like, can you just help me out for this?
Nice.
And that's their job.
Okay.
And then if they're not capoeiristas, they're not going to care so much if they're just like, this is how it is. This is how it is. Let's
Yeah,
get it.
yeah. Because if you got a student there, especially if they're first Batizado, they want to be talking to people and meeting people and playing around. So the whole idea
Yeah.
too is for students to enjoy the Batizado too.
They don't want to get stuck doing
I like that.
a whole bunch of different things. But if they've got one thing and they're like, all right, well, I've just got food. We can organize all these things beforehand and we set it up and we come back and we check it all the time. It's easy.
Nice.
Another team doing something else. But then you also need the numbers to do that, right?
Yeah, yeah, for sure. What about you, Congo? How do you organize those teams or get those students ready?
Okay, before that, I want Soquete's checklist because it's a very
That's a
good
good one,
one.
right? It's a good one, yeah.
What you said, actually, I have experience doing it on my own the first 2 years. And the second one, this is no joke. In my head, I went to lie down on the floor for 5 minutes. Everybody told me I fell asleep and snored for almost 2 hours. So you will be broken because you will be on a high, you won't feel it. You will be like, I picked up everybody from the airport. I went to the caterer. I went to set everything up. I made all the course alone because I didn't want nobody to know who's getting what. I did all the administration, get the money. Only thing I did not do at the door is the second year I put somebody to sit there. You're doing the shirts and the money. The first year I did all the shirts because I didn't want somebody to come and say, no, I ordered this, because I had my list who had what. But I learned from my mistakes that you will be on a very high and then you will crash.
Yeah, oh yeah.
I would lose my voice every festival. At the last day, because of stress, I didn't have a voice.
I bet.
I literally be talking like this. At the
Been
moment
there.
of singing, it comes out. But as soon as talking again, because of the stress, I couldn't talk anymore.
It's so
So
much stuff to do, man.
yeah. So on the third year, I made a schedule of when we're gonna make the chords. Everybody's allowed to come to help, but I will hand the chord to the person, and I will not let them know whose chord they're making, and I will then take it back, put the name on it, and put it away, and I would color them alone again.
Nice. Nice.
Only 2 years ago, when I was going, I let Guerrero, my highest student, help me to color, and he literally called me crazy because I was doing everything on my own.
I bet. Dude,
But
that's a lot of
afterwards,
stuff
I
to do.
learned literally to have teams, and I had to teach myself to, when I delegate, do not try to be always on top of the ball, because then, as for example, if I have a team that has to pick up people, I'm not, if I call them like, hey, okay, you guys are almost there. If they say we're on our way, I'll jump in the car and I'll go myself. So
You ended up doing it yourself.
yes. So I need to learn how to delegate better and let go. But with time, it's getting better. Like
Nice.
last year, I had a team who's picking up, another team preparing the party, another team preparing getting the food.
Nice.
I did courts, venue, and the venue preparation. I let them do it as well. The backup, I do it myself because I know everybody's tired, and I'm afraid that because of their tired, they will just put stuff and they will break something that I will get angry. So the backup I still do myself.
Okay.
But yeah, so that checklist of Soquete, I would like to have it. It
I can
may
send
help
it
me
to you,
for.
buddy.
Thank you.
But it's
But
funny, like you say, like it's easy for us to want to micromanage everything.
Yeah, yeah, for sure.
But
yeah,
the fact is, for first Batizado, it's a little more difficult because they don't really appreciate what's going to happen until it happens.
Oh yeah, oh yeah.
But once you've had people go through one Batizado, people want to help. They want it to be a great day. They want to get in there. They're like, what can I do? How can I help you? So it's good for us to learn to let go a little bit and be like, okay, you guys have this. Come to me with some ideas. Talk to me, and then let me know. And then every now and then follow up. But you'll have much more ease in the whole process. But still, like Congo said, I've fallen asleep at after parties before. And people are like, oh, he so can't handle it. And I'm like, no, man, it's been a busy week. I've had 5 hours sleep in the last 4 days, but we had a great day. Now I
Yeah.
can relax. So don't
yeah.
expect to get much sleep on Batizado week, but it's worth it. You know it's worth it.
I'll be there to help you.
Nice, nice. Well, it's just a lot of stuff to do, right? Because he's, and then you got to take care of the guest. And then if the guest asks you something, and then if you want to ask something to a guest, and it's just like, if you do it yourself, you're gonna go crazy, man. And
There's
that's why I was asking, like, how do you set up your students? You know, like you have meetings with them, like in like every week or something like that.
Not that often, but yeah, definitely a couple of times. But then once you've got your team set up, you don't have to have big meetings. You can just have small phone conversations. Where are we at? What are we doing?
Okay,
Because each little team has its stuff, and the right hand doesn't have to know what the left hand is doing,
okay,
as long as you know how the whole body is working.
yeah.
nice, nice. Oh, I like
For
that.
me, it's a bit different. I make my teams at the moment. We're gonna make the courts. I will just say who's coming, and then I'll see who's already determined to help. And there I will be making my teams, and I start like, okay, who's going to do the pickups? Okay, then I'll give you a list of who's coming, what time. I will I will make the small teams, and normally for me it's number one rule when I'm gonna color the courts, only graduados and hires allowed to help, just to
Nice.
keep it because one day I will ask them their opinion about lower courts because they already have to start thinking about that part, and they must see what I'm going through because some people think, oh, just put the course, color them, and done. But once they see the process, how long it takes, they will also value it more and they
Oh
will
yeah.
be helping more as well.
Oh yeah. Yeah. I was thinking when I have mine, I'm going to have all my students do their course. You know, like because I want them to learn how long does it take, how then you gotta cut it, and then you gotta make the knot, and then you gotta dye it, and then you gotta dry it, and then you gotta pack it, and then you gotta make it pretty and all that. It's a process. It's a long process.
Uh,
Yeah, we always try to make sure that we have a group. Like I want everybody to know how to weave, how to fold, how to unstring and tie the knots, which is
Yeah.
always an effort to get everybody
Yeah.
to remember how it was done from last year. And as long as their chords are raw, it doesn't matter. Nobody knows who's getting what.
Yeah. Yeah.
Then when it comes to coloring, you choose your small group. And I do the same thing. I have discussions with our mastery and then with other students. Be like, what do you think about this? How do we feel about this?
Oh, nice.
Okay. Now, my next question for Congo is, do you make extra chords when you do your chords, or do you only make the specific number of chords you have a list for?
Oh, good question. I like that.
I normally I let every student help me. I have a specific number in the beginning, but I always try to make one or two just in case if something happens.
One
For
or two per
example,
person, or one and two just any random color.
no, it's I do not. I will just make them and see. Sometimes, like there is somebody that deserves a chord, but because of my hecticness, I may forget. It's not that I forget the person, but your mind will be in high speed, and if you miss an exit, you will keep on going.
Yeah.
Like I did forget somebody once. It's not that I don't value the person, but because you're in that, I have this list. Everybody that's registered, I look at that list. I don't look at, okay, somebody did not register at that moment. I don't. I make that list, and then I will see, okay, who did not register for the batizado that I know will come last minute. And that part, I forgot that person because I didn't see the person's name in my list. So I do make extra chords, but I don't color them. But I will try to
Okay.
make them like a standard length, like nor yeah, there's no stand, but a length that I know can, if I if it's made, I can cut a piece off, but not that I have to make a completely new one if the person's it doesn't fit.
Okay.
Yeah.
What about
I
you,
go a
sir?
little further and I do a couple of each color, at least one or two of every color along the list of what I've got for students.
Okay.
Because, yeah, sometimes people register the day before Batizado and they're like, hey, I'm here for grading. And you're like, I'm sorry, what? Where you
Well,
been? Okay, so let's talk. So I've always got a little bag of extra ones sort of lying around that if I absolutely need to. And sometimes, forms don't work out well on the registration forms and whatever, which is another thing I wanted to talk about later is the Google registration form concept.
nice.
I
Yeah.
think that's a
Yeah.
really, really advantageous thing. But yeah, I've been in batizados where you're like, oh, somebody grab me an extra yellow. And then you're like, okay, hey, come on up.
Yeah. Yeah. And be like, hey, take off your yellow. Give me 1 second. I'll help
I've
you
done
out.
that once before
I'll
too.
give I'll give it to you, boss, pretty soon.
Yeah, I've
Yeah.
done that once before with the kids. I was like, "Can I borrow this one? Your old one? Thanks."
I'll give it back to you soon.
Yeah, I had forgot one chord at home.
Nice. What about if the person doesn't show up to the batches out? You give it to them the next class or something?
No, that I don't.
Okay.
It's if you don't show up for a very, very, very important reason, and it should be like something you got hit by a car,
Yeah, yeah.
or you
The
somebody in
problem.
your family sick.
Yeah.
I because it's for me it's a traditional ceremony, and we are celebrating it together because I don't want to have people be like, oh, okay, no, I'm not going to buy this out this year. I'll get my cord on the next class.
Yeah,
I want
yeah.
to avoid that mentality.
No, that's a good
I
one.
That's something it's you have to avoid having that one moment that other students can ruin the fun for the rest.
Sure, because then if you let everybody or you just let it pass and then the person is gonna be, well, this person messed it up. I'm just gonna go get drunk on the day before the bachisado, don't show up, and I just get it my next day.
Yeah,
Oh, that's
and
good.
because
Good. I like
it's
it.
like my reason why I do my quarters on Sunday also because some people do it on Saturday.
I wanna do it on
They get the
Saturday.
quarter on Saturday, they don't show up Sunday. And like I said, it's a celebration we do together. It's not only for the court; it's for you to meet new people, for you to understand other teachers or other teachers get to know you. And
Nice.
the court is part of the celebration as well. The
Oh, yeah.
court is like we are all acknowledging it together with you. So if you don't show up, for you it's not important in my view. Or it's like, okay, I if you don't have money to pay for the festival, tell me. Don't show up.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
if the day pass and you're not there, you have to wait a year. I'm sorry.
Yeah. 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 And that comes back to the something I was talking about when all these pandemic went around. That as a student, you have to communicate with the instructor or whoever is leading the class. Because I mean, we don't know. I mean, yeah, you don't have the money to pay the batches out, but if you don't tell me anything, I'm not gonna just read your mind, and that's the communication is very, very important. If something is missing or something's going wrong with that specific person, but talking and communicating is very important.
Yeah, and an energy exchange is not impossible. I mean, look at the list of things we've already got to do so far.
Yeah. Oh
It's
yeah.
not like we can't get you to help us out with stuff if you absolutely need to, right?
Yeah, yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
Yeah, dude, like so much stuff that you don't have the money to pay, dude. I got work for you.
A lot.
Yeah, yeah. So is like for example, at the beginning of Capoeira Brasil back in Venezuela, I didn't have the money to pay for one of the workshops, but I made all the shirts for the workshop. And then my instructor was like, "Yeah, dude, like don't worry, just make the shirts and we're fine."
Yeah.
And then after, so we got the date, we got like the teams that we have for the Batizado, and everybody's kind of like ready what they need to do. And now where you go from there, you start like promoting the event, start using like marketing for on like marketing quote unquote on Facebook, Instagram, or social media or anything, spreading the voice.
Mm.
I'd put the marketing and all that sort of stuff and your list making before I make up teams, because a lot of the teams, like
Nice.
your driver's team, they don't need to be organized until a couple of weeks beforehand. Who's going to be doing my driving? But
Nice, I like it.
your lists and your promotional work is really, really important. So that's why I really like the Google registration form, because with the Google registration form, you can have your own students filling it out and all your guests that are coming to fill it out. So if you've got information like your shirt sizes on the Google registration form, your level of experience, do you need a place to stay? Or for your own students, can you supply a place to stay? Offering payment options, knowing what groups people are in. If you can get all that on the Google registration Excel spreadsheet, then
Mm,
you've already got your list of who's going to get a cord. You've already got
nice.
your list of who's going to come and your list of t-shirt sizes and your list of everything else like that.
That's a great
So
filter over there.
it's a really, really good thing to start with. And you've got your waiver. You're going to put a waiver in there,
Yeah, yeah.
right? So you've got all that kind of stuff.
I like it
Then you need a Facebook event that you're going to promote
for sure.
and start doing your work through Instagram, whether it's little short videos or whether it's a flyer. But that's a really important thing to get it out there. And then to get your event page put into other groups like that, Instagram, Batizados USA
Oh, yeah, 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 yeah.
Instagram page, right? Getting it shared on there, getting it shared on, there's a Facebook group called Capoeira in Toronto where all the Toronto teams and groups come together and share things and talk. So you put your
That's a great.
Batizado on there. You want to make sure that you're hitting all the other Capoeira groups, which
Yeah,
sounds funny,
yeah, yeah,
to make sure everybody's getting the information.
yeah,
And then you got to follow it up.
yeah,
Yes.
yeah. Because I mean, is these bachisados are mostly for capoeiristas, right? It's not like to like attract new students. It's mostly for people that are already doing capoeira.
Absolutely.
And the more people we help or attract to the event, from my perspective, is better to back up financially as like guest. And a lot of people say it's kind of funny. I heard before where people say like, oh, this watch is out too expensive. Yeah, yeah, dude, but you got to remember that person got to pay for flight tickets, for tickets. They got to pay for housing if they don't have enough housing. They got to pay for gas. They got to pay for food. They got to pay for space. They got to pay for shirt, for core, and blah 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 and blah blah blah. And the list goes on. So it's really really good for people to. That's why I want to make these too, because people can understand. Like, oh, it's a lot of stuff going on behind the scene. What about you, Congo? What do you do?
For me, I start directly, then make the Facebook page like save the date.
Nice,
I try to get the word out on Facebook by having friends share it. Try to get it in the groups. Some groups I cannot share it because I'm from the Caribbean, so it doesn't fit in the Facebook groups profiles. But I try to get the word out, and I will try to make small videos. And as soon as I know one guest that is confirmed, I put the confirmed picture, share that one
nice,
as well. And like Soquete, I have always used Google Forms
nice.
because then I can see my students, which one's coming, or if I can see guests like professores, then I know what I have to do, get better contact with them to know what the things are. because even though you want people to get here, but you want to give them the treatment that they deserve as well. And the good thing is, for us in Curacao, it's we always try to lodge everybody. Some people want Airbnb, so we help them to look for Airbnb
Oh, cool. Okay.
closest to the venue. We'll tell them, okay, the venue here, and they can send me, okay, we find this list of Airbnb. But because of the Google forms, we get a good view who's coming, of whose intention is to come.
Nice.
And it helps you as well. Like for me, it helps me calculate as well my students' court length, because I actually have one part for my students that they will measure parts of their some parts, so they I can make my courts. I will have the list who's there. I have it will be like a complete Excel sheet that will generate out of that registration. And from there, I can start budgeting for food, lodgings.
Nice.
Let me just check, just to be, yeah, food, lodgings, um, instrument, materials, shirts, unforeseen cost. I also put a budget. I will take like if my full budget, I will take like 20% extra for unforeseen cost, because you never know what's going to happen.
I like that. I like that.
And also facility costs, party. I will try to budget everything around what I'm seeing and looking at the previous Batizado's cost, and I will put like 10 to 15% extra, and then I will have my budget, and then I know also what I should ask for the Batizado, not to be in debt, but not also to profit too much, because I would like to keep it that people can keep on coming to Curacao.
For sure. Yeah. Yeah. Of course. Of course. And you talk something important. I think is probably one of the most important topics of the whole Bachisado thing is the budget, right? So, for example, if how do you guys, or what ideas you guys have to collect money? Like, for example, I remember back in time when I helped for Bachisados, we used to have like parties. And then from that party, we get some money for the Bachisado, and then we sell cupcakes and we sell cookies and everything we can sell to start funding our Bachisado. What do you guys usually do for that?
She got you first.
I don't do any of that kind of pre-fundraising stuff. It's definitely
Okay.
something we could consider. But we set the price for Batizado. Money starts coming in for Batizado, and it just keeps getting put aside until it gets spent on things, and put aside till it gets spent on things. I'm probably not the most accounting savvy capoeirista out there, so sometimes I fly by the seat of my pants, and as long as I'm not out of pocket at the end of the event, I'm happy.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, no one. It shouldn't be negative, right? At the end of the Bachisado.
Shouldn't be.
Yeah, yeah, because I'm pretty sure out there is going to be like, man, I have too much debt. I don't want more Bachisados anymore.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's
Well,
good. That can happen.
yeah, yeah. What about you, Congo? How do you found those kinds of donations, for example, too?
I most in the first years we used to sell Halloween cookies, Christmas
Cool.
cookies, and stuff, but I stopped with it because unfortunately it was always the same people helping, and I find it unfair that like this small team breaks their backs and everybody profits.
Yeah,
So I do send emails for sponsorship, and in return I will offer them a team building workshop,
nice.
or some of them actually just ask for an event shirt to put in their building that they sponsored us. So I do I try to ask for sponsorship, but my main income is the yearly memberships, a part of the yearly memberships, and then from there I'll budget the Batizado fee, and that's what I normally rely on, because I will always, if we get sponsorship, great, then we can put the budget lower or do something extra.
Yeah.
but I don't start relying on sponsorship and fundraisers, because it's, for me, it's a bit risky, because you can also do a fundraiser and it doesn't profit, you don't profit, but you lose money. That's also the risk you're doing when you do fundraisers.
Yeah. Yeah. Yes. I agree. And then from there, you guys start like everything is set up, everything is ready. You guys start like reaching out to everybody you can to start bringing as much people as you can.
For me, I start reaching out for my guests that I want to bring, and then I start spamming all my friends. I'm like, hey,
Are you
you
coming?
know, last year you had fun. I will mail previous guests. I will contact previous students that came, because most of the time they are the ones that will promote you.
For sure. Yeah.
Like my event is actually being promoted more by the guys from Canada that came here, the guys from Paris that came here, the students, and the ones from the States. They are the ones talk about, hey, Curacao, nice capoeira and great beaches. They always say about the event and the island.
Nice.
So
Nice.
they are the ones that promote me the most. But I reach out to ex participants and to the guests that I want to bring and my friends. And from there, I try to have my promotion spread out into the world.
Nice. See, like I said before, if you go to Curacao, you're gonna find a paradise. So I'm pretty sure if you go there, you're gonna go back.
Yeah, I'm not surprised the Canadians were like, "Oh, and nice beaches."
Yeah. Oh yeah, I bet,
Yes,
man.
Montreal Canadians were here. The first time one came, the second time seven, the third time 14. So they're like multiplied.
Like Gremlins. That's funny. That's funny. Man. That's pretty cool. Because at the end of the day, like you go to an event. I mean, that I've done that. When I go to an event and I come back to my city, and it's like, man, this event was really cool. And then it started like the energy started being contagious, right? Like you start like bringing more people and me, like, man, this event is really cool. Okay, next year it's two more, and then those two bring two more, and then you start compounding from there.
Yeah, making yourself known to all the other groups in your area and their communities and their events, and having your students go there and having yourself go there, and then people, they want to connect with you and they want to support your event because they see you and they're like, "Oh, I love that guy because she's so cool. I got
Yeah,
to go to Indy to hang out with these guys." I've already got people that are already like, "When's he having it? Let's go."
nice. Yeah, yeah, that's awesome. That's awesome. I appreciate that too. Because if is something I heard too is like helping or like you personally going like you just mentioned, Sokechi, that you personally going to other people's event or hodas or classes that also helps you to have that connection, not just for Batizado, it's also to like
For
you
everything.
at the end of the day you help each other too, because when they have a Batizado, then you go there. When you have a Batizado, then you come here, or demonstration or anything you can help each other.
Absolutely.
Yeah,
Working
I
together, helping
yeah,
each
yeah.
other.
And at the beginning, I said something that uh, is very interesting for me. The capoeira is very adaptive, right? We always adapt, and it's always been adapting since I've known. And all these years, I've been seeing like capoeira always adapting to something new. And right now, technology is growing, and it's growing all the aspects, including capoeira. And I seen already a couple online bachizados, quote unquote online bachizados. What do you guys think about that? Like having the workshop uh, online, and then the person receiving the workshop at the academy, and especially with all the travel restrictions and all that. What do you guys think? What do you think, Congo?
For me, I think it's the way to go at this moment. It's not the ideal way. We all agree, because capoeira is normally face to face.
For sure.
But if you now say, okay, no, we're going to wait till everything returns back to normal, maybe we'll have our first Batizado to visit in 2022.
Yeah.
Just to be exaggeration, but it's at this moment, it's the way to do it, because you will keep on the connection with others, and
100%.
you it's yeah, just to be frank, you don't have an alternative at this moment. you do have alternative to wait or use the technology like we have been using since March to train, but use a bigger screen.
Yeah,
And then you will have like guests giving classes like we have been doing since March. We do guest classes, but you do an event like
yeah,
class. It's a way that you keep capoeira alive at this moment till we can
100%,
return to the normal orders.
100%. And I like it. And I personally, I don't see anything wrong with that. I think is like you said, is we is no option. We got to keep the ball rolling. What do you think, Sokechi?
Yeah, I'm definitely seeing more and more of them. Even Mish Boneko and Formando Pavão
Yeah,
over there at CBLA just started promoting theirs, right? And I've seen other ones where, especially if someone's having a formatura
yeah, yeah, for
and
sure. Yeah.
people are waiting for their contra mastery or their mastery quarter, and it's been planned and everyone's been working towards it for 2 years, and then you got told, no, you're gonna have to wait another 2 years.
Oh man,
You're
yeah.
like, what?
Oh,
How long?
it's
So
like,
when?
well, come on, man. Just
Okay.
yeah,
So there's definitely some situations where you're like, you know what? This person deserves an instructor quarter or they deserve a professor quarter, and we can give it. What I'm trying to do here is I'm going to do kids and youth sometime in the next month or two to give them, because making those little guys wait, once a year
yeah.
is already, compared to a lot
Especially
of other
kids.
martial arts, once a year is a long wait when you're
Yeah,
7 or 8 years old for your next
yeah,
belt.
yeah. And they're
And
not
to
gonna
be,
understand that.
no, and to say, no, well, you know what, 2022, we're good to go. But I'm out.
Okay. Yeah.
So I definitely want to do that. And then to be honest, I've got a couple of adults that have just been completely committed all the way through. And I'm like, I want to recognize your effort and your
For sure.
time, and you
For sure.
deserve to be celebrated. And then
100%.
I've got a couple of people who have come and joined recently. And are they going to sit with no belt? Because we give a quarter, raw quarter for a first batizado.
Okay. Okay.
Am I going to make this person wait with no belt on their pants for
Yeah. Yeah.
another 2 years? So the more I think about it more deeply, and the more I'm seeing these kind of things, the more I'm gonna have to fold and accept the situation and find ways to make it work for us
Yeah.
here.
Like why not? Like you said, like you mentioned, that is a really good motivation for even for adults. A lot of people say out there like, oh, core is not everything, but it's a really
Mhm.
good motivation for people when I mean, don't lie to me. You know what I mean? When you get in the core and you're like, everybody's screaming, like you get in, even if it's the first core, the second core, you get
Yeah,
very excited. And it's a really good incentive or motivation for people. Yeah, it holds the pants, but also helps you to motivation.
The
yeah,
core is not on like yeah, it's just to be a bit off topic. The core is not only to hold your pants.
Correct, correct.
If for yes, it holds your pants. Yes, it's a nice color, but you won't just take your favorite color and put it on your hip. It's also, if it's done correctly, it's a recognition that you earned from your mastery.
For sure,
It's a
yeah.
recognition that capoeira gives you. So yes, it's not what's playing, you're what's playing, but if it's done correctly, it's a recognition. That said, I have some kids that even through the pandemic were in every every Zoom class,
That's it.
all of them without missing one. And there was one kid that missed one because he had to do some family thing, and the kid was pissed at her parents because she wanted to train. So like Sukoni said, I'm going to do in about 2 weeks, not a batizado, but a ceremonial event because
Yeah,
we're not allowed to have real events on the island at this moment. I'm going to put social distancing cones to everybody apart, but I'm going to recognize all those kids that
for
were
sure.
working hard for actually this weekend because normally we would have this batizado this weekend. But those kids worked so hard during Zoom times, during lockdown. What now that we are allowed to train outside, they keep on coming. So why should I? It's just torture to tell them, yeah, pandemic, we're not allowed to do something big, so wait till next year.
Yeah,
It's
yeah,
torture.
yeah, yeah. And kids are not gonna understand that.
Yeah,
It's like
and even
just give it to me.
beginners that trained a year, you cannot. It's I know they will understand adults, but let's be the human side. We all have feelings.
For sure. Yeah. Oh yeah.
You worked
Oh yeah.
for it. Even me as a professor can say, I worked hard to get where I am. Yes, I got the quota 2 years ago, but it's something I worked for. It's not
100%.
the quota I worked to get somewhere in capoeira and getting. If master would tell me this year, we were about to give you professor, but wait 2 more years because we cannot see each other. I will
Yeah.
understand, but it will pain
Hurts your
me a
feeling. Yeah.
bit because I'm not a beginner. I know I will continue,
Yeah.
but a
For sure.
beginner will be like, I'm gonna do. Nah, never mind. It will
Yeah.
hurt.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
We're human.
Yeah. Yeah. No, I completely understand because I've seen beginners like that, where like, oh yeah, you just got away a little bit more. They're like, oh man, like it's like you said, it's not just to hold your pants. It's also a little bit of recognition right there.
Yeah.
So you guys think about the online bachizado will be is at least a really good option right now, especially right now, right?
It's the only option other
Yeah.
than no Batizado.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
Yeah.
this is the capoeira way, right? Accept the situation, find a way to make it work.
Sure.
Adapt
Yeah.
to the situation.
100%. Yeah. Yeah. And
Oh,
to wrap it up here, what do you guys would be a single advice for you guys? Anyone out there listening for expecting bachizados or anything? Well, Sokechi, what do you think?
For people who are going to go to Batizados or people who are running Batizados?
Like whoever is expecting a bachizado, like a lot of people were like a
Oh,
student wise for
they're already past their due date to get their belt, like half of my students are now, because we normally have it in July.
so
Sorry, guys.
2022.
Yeah. And even when people say, the core doesn't mean anything, most of the people who say that, it still means something. Like Congo said, we have human feelings, and sometimes it's hard to step above and rise above. So be patient, keep working, see what you can do to help out, um, and don't lose your sight of the fact that Batizado or not, we practice capoeira for the love of the art, for the history, for the culture. Don't let the fact that you can't play in a harda stop you from training. Are you the kind of student that only goes to class so that you can play in the harda? Or are you the kind of student who goes to class because they want to learn, they want to improve, they want to understand more about the culture and history? And then one day maybe they'll become a teacher, or maybe they're just going to be a person who's a good student who trains hard and plays hard and learns well. The Batizados are a great celebration of your work, but don't forget why you started the work and what's important about that work. Because in a
100%.
time like this, in a pandemic, when people find it hard to get to class, it's easy to be like, well, if I can't play, I'm not going to go. But are you shooting yourself in the foot and missing your opportunity to practice and to, like I was said in the other interview, to look inward and improve your game and improve your history and your culture, and then
100%.
show that you're part of a community and support that community that's always been there for you? So maybe
100%.
batizados will come and go, but your class is there. If you're training hard and you're training because you love the sport, then everything else is going to be great.
100%. Yeah. Plus, your teacher's always been there. Your teachers, he's there always, to help you and help you improve and all that.
Yeah.
Well, what about you, Congo?
well, if you're expecting a batizado, I would say just put a pause on it for a moment. I will say visit online classes because it's the way to do it. Because if you're only going to do, I know batizado is a big party. I know, but think about what you are doing as well. Yes, are you training capoeira only for the batizado? Are you training capoeira for yourself as a self development? And like Soquete said, are you training just for the Hoda? You have to. It's a good time now to evaluate yourself as well, because then you'll know. You will also know what capoeira means for you. Like you can. you will see if you are a capoeirista for self-development. If you're for self-development, you will try to train as much as possible for when there's a batizado, you are prepared. So to wrap it up, like you say, for if you're expecting batizado, I will say let patience be your virtue. It will come, but we cannot promise you when. Because if we promise you now and if we promise you in 2 weeks and the pandemic kicks it off, we will be breaking that promise. But put it on pause, but you know that we will get there someday. Just train, train, and when you're when it's there, be ready to enjoy the moment.
100%. Yeah. Yeah, because he's at this moment, no one controls this pandemic stuff. And at some point, who knows when it's gonna be a normal batches out again. We don't know.
Yeah.
No one knows.
Yeah. At this moment, I'm allowed to travel to Canada. They said today on Curacao we are allowed to go to Canada. So
Oh,
if
nice.
there's one there, I can go. And Canadians are
Very
allowed to come here on the island if they
nice.
have a negative test.
Nice. There you go, Soquete. There you go. You
Oh,
guys can travel.
my passport's run out. I got to get a new one. I can't go anywhere.
Start
But
driving there.
Curacao sounds like a great weekend. I'm definitely interested in coming and
Oh,
hanging out, Congo.
Come for a week because then you have time to also know the island.
oh,
Sounds great. But
that's a really
actually,
good one.
that was another thing that I really wanted to say
Yeah.
for you, Kashishi. Getting to know the place that you visit is really important.
For sure.
Giving people a reason to want to come back is really important. We don't have the beautiful island that Professor Congo has. So it's important for us to like find places where you can have great harders outdoors
Oh,
and
cool.
then also follow it up by going somewhere to do something cultural or to have a dinner or to have a barbecue somewhere else. Plus, this is going to work for you because if you have like a big harder and maybe it's connected to some kind of event like a street event or something like that, or whether it's just you get everybody at a big tourist place and have a harder and have lots of video and show some do some jinga and stuff like that, it's going to be great for your promotional work for your capoeira work later as
Okay.
well.
Okay.
And nobody who's visiting Indiana, knowing that you're the only school in Indiana, is going to be like, I don't want to be in your video, because nobody's going to be competition for you.
Yeah,
Everybody
for
be
sure.
like, let's go. Come on.
Yeah.
I got you, Kashishi.
Yeah.
Let's do this. So find somewhere that looks really good that you're like, oh, we should do an outdoor workshop or we should do an outdoor harder here. And then after the harder here, we can go down the street, 2 streets down to that great big restaurant and everyone can have dinner and we can get to, our students can have a chance to get to know some of the guests and we can build that connection so that people want to come back.
That's awesome. That's awesome. I like that. I like that. The good thing is this is recording, so I can listen to this many times. Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah. No, that's awesome, man. That's awesome. Any extra thoughts?
Too many.
One thing that Soquete just said, for me is very important at my batizado as well. When it's for everybody,
100%. Yeah.
I have one rule. If you come here, we don't make panels. We don't make small groups. Everybody talks to everybody.
Nice. I like it.
So that's the way that everybody can. At the end of my festival, because of that rule, everybody's friends with everybody. Teachers made new friends with students. Students made new friends with teachers. Canadians made friends with Dutch people. Dutch people with Americans. Americans with Trinidadians.
Yeah.
That's the for me number
Capoeira,
one
right?
rule is come with positive energy. And after this pandemic, I know everybody will be super positive to be able to enter a festival. So
Oh yeah. Oh yeah. Everybody's is still like there's every single person I talk to in the podcast is like, I'm ready for a hot man.
Yeah.
Like, and all of us are like super ready for the hot.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Well, thank you so much, guys. Thank you so much for sharing again your thoughts, especially with this topic is Batizado season, right? So a lot of people are having Batizado and a lot of people are talking about Batizado. Are we gonna have one, or should we move to next year? So it's really great to listening to you guys' thoughts and experiences, of course.
Yeah.
Awesome. And don't forget to take the time to thank your wife at the end of the event in the thank yous. I've seen
Number
people
one
forget.
thanks moment.
Wait, do you wife like wave at you on the back?
Yeah.
Because she'll be supporting all your headaches.
Oh yeah. Oh, that's for sure. She's the one who's going to be taking all the headaches. All right, guys. Thank you so much. Thank you so much, and you guys have a good night.
Peace.
Yeah.
Great to see you again, buddy. Have a good
Okay,
night.
see you guys.
Bye bye. Thank you so much for listening. Thank you so much for getting this far. Remember, please subscribe, give us a thumbs up on Facebook or YouTube. Please subscribe to the YouTube channel. This is going to help us and help me to get bigger numbers and bigger subscribers so we can give more information. Okay, please, if you're listening, I know you're listening, I know you're watching, please give me a subscribe, give me a like. Okay, I know you're watching right here or listening. All right, have an amazing day. Thank you so much for tuning in and listening every single episode, especially the episode we just did. All right, thank you so much. Peace.